The alien child's plea. The sun was setting behind the tall, rocky mountains when Jake heard a soft sound coming from the bushes. He was alone on this strange planet, exploring new lands for his research team. The air smelled different here, sharp and cold, and the sky was painted in strange shades of purple and green. Jake had never seen anything like it before. Curious, he moved closer to the sound. His heart beat faster as he saw a small figure sitting on the ground, trembling. It was a child, but not like any child Jake had ever seen. Her skin was pale blue and her eyes were big and shining like stars. Her hair was silver and floated gently in the breeze. She looked scared and weak. "Please," the child whispered, her voice trembling. "Help me. My mother is trapped." Jake knelt down slowly, not wanting to scare her more. "Who trapped your mother and where is she?" he asked gently, the child's eyes filled with tears. "There is a deadly trap. It's in the dark forest. If we don't save her soon, she will die." Jake's mind raced. He had heard stories about this forest, how no one who entered it ever came back. Many believed it was cursed, full of dangers no human could face. But the child's fear and hope were real. He could see it in her eyes. "Why are you here alone? Where are the others?" Jake asked, trying to understand. "We were attacked," she said quietly. "Enemies came, took my mother, and left me behind. I escaped, but I don't know how long she can survive in that trap." Jake felt a sudden rush of protectiveness. He was far from home, but this little alien needed help. He stood up and looked at the horizon. The dark forest was just beyond, those hills, its tall trees blocking the light like giant shadows. "I will help you," Jake said firmly. "But you have to promise to stay close. It will be dangerous." The child nodded, her small hand reaching out to hold Jake's. "Thank you. My name is Lyra. I'm Jake," he replied. "Let's find your mother." As they began their journey toward the dark forest, Lyra told Jake about her world. She spoke slowly, her voice soft, but full of sadness. Her people were peaceful, living in harmony with nature. But recently, a strange and cruel group had started capturing her kind for unknown reasons. "They want to use us," Lyra said, "to take our powers and control our planet." Jake listened carefully, feeling the weight of her words. He had heard about such evil groups before, but seeing the fear in Lyra's eyes made it real. The path to the forest was hard. Strange sounds echoed all around them, growls, whispers, and rustling leaves. Jake kept his hand on the small laser gun at his side, ready for anything. Lyra clung to his arm, her eyes wide and alert. Suddenly, they heard a low growl from behind a rock. A large, shadowy creature stepped into the light. It had 4 legs and sharp teeth that glowed in the dark. Jake raised his gun, but Lyra stopped him with a shake of her head. "It won't hurt us," she whispered. "It's my friend Croth." Croth growled softly and stepped closer, licking Lyra's cheek. Jake relaxed but stayed alert. This was a new world with new rules, and he had to learn fast. They moved deeper into the forest where the trees were so tall and thick that barely any light could pass. The air grew colder and the silence was heavy. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. "The trap is near," Lyra said, her voice shaking. "I can feel it." After walking for what seemed like hours, they reached a clearing. In the middle was a strange machine, glowing with red and blue lights. It looked like a cage made of metal and energy beams. Inside, Jake saw a figure, Lyra's mother. Her skin was the same pale blue as Lyra's, and she looked weak and hurt. She tried to reach out but couldn't break free. Jake's heart ached seeing her like that. "How do we get her out?" Jake asked urgently. "The trap is strong," Lyra said. "It senses movement and tries to shock anyone who touches it." Jake looked carefully around. There were wires and devices all over the trap, blinking and buzzing. This was not just a simple trap, it was a deadly machine designed to keep her mother prisoner. "We need a plan," Jake said. "Something to distract the trap or disable it." Lyra nodded, wiping tears from her cheeks. "Please save her." Jake took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. He didn't know what dangers lay ahead, but he was determined. No matter what, He would save Lyra's mother. As they prepared to act, strange sounds came from the trees around them. Someone else was watching. Someone dangerous. The adventure was just beginning. The journey into darkness. The forest loomed before them like a wall of shadows. Tall, twisted trees stretched high into the sky, their black branches tangled like claws reaching for the stars. A cold wind whispered through the leaves, carrying strange, unearthly sounds that sent shivers down Jake's spine. The deeper they went, the darker it became. Even the small light from the distant stars could barely break through the thick canopy above. Lyra's small hand gripped Jake's arm tightly. Her eyes darted nervously between the moving shadows. "This place is alive," she said softly. "It watches. It waits." Jake nodded, but said nothing. His mind raced with questions. What kind of enemies were they really facing? Why was this forest so dangerous? And what secrets hid deep inside the trap? They moved slowly, each step careful and silent. Croth, the shadowy creature that followed them, stayed close, its low growls warning of unseen threats. Every crack of a twig, every rustle of leaves made them stop and listen. Suddenly, a sharp, echoing scream cut through the silence. Lyra froze. "That was her," she whispered, fear twisting her voice. "My mother's voice." Jake's heart pounded. They ran toward the sound, pushing through thick bushes and tangled vines. As they entered a small clearing, the air grew colder, and a strange blue mist curled along the ground. There, in the middle, stood a strange figure. It was not human. Tall and slender, with glowing red eyes that pierced the dark. Its skin looked like cracked stone and its hands ended in sharp claws. It watched them with a cruel smile. "You should not be here," the creature said in a deep, rough voice. "This forest is mine." Lyra stepped forward, trembling but brave. "Let her go," she said. "My mother doesn't belong to you." The creature laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "Your mother is my prisoner now, and you will join her." Jake raised his laser gun, but the creature moved faster than he could see. With one swipe, it sent a wave of energy that knocked Jake off his feet. Pain exploded in his side, but he forced himself to stand. "Run!" Jake shouted to Lyra. They turned and sprinted back toward the path, Croth leading the way with powerful strides. Behind them, the creature's angry roar shook the trees. As they ran, the forest seemed to close in on them. The branches reached out like hands trying to grab them. Roots twisted and tripped their feet. Jake's breath came in sharp gasps, but he didn't stop. Finally, they burst out of the forest edge and collapsed on the rocky ground, panting and covered in scratches. "That was close," Jake said, wiping blood from his forehead. Lyra's eyes were wide with fear. "Who was that?" "Something dangerous," Jake replied, "and it wants to stop us." They sat in silence for a moment, the weight of the fight pressing down on them. Then Lyra looked at Jake with a new determination. "We have to keep going, my mother is still trapped." Jake nodded. "But we need a better plan." The forest was more than just a place of danger, it was a trap itself. Whatever creature ruled here was powerful and smart. Jake knew they couldn't just rush in again. As night fell, they found a small cave to rest. Croth curled up nearby, alert and watching the dark woods. Jake looked at Lyra. "Tell me everything you know about that creature." Lyra shivered but began to speak. "He is called the Shadow Warden. He controls this forest with his dark magic. No one can pass without his permission." "Dark magic?" Jake repeated, raising an eyebrow. "Yes," Lyra said. "He feeds on fear and pain. He wants to capture my mother because she holds the key to our people's power." "What kind of power?" Jake asked. "The power to protect and heal," Lyra explained. "My mother is a guardian. Without her, our planet is weak." Jake understood now why this mission was so important. It wasn't just about saving one life. It was about protecting an entire world. The night was long and full of uneasy silence. Every sound outside the cave made them jump, but Jake's mind was working, trying to find a way to fight this shadow, Warden. He remembered the strange machine they saw, the trap. It was more than metal and lights. It was alive, connected to the forest and the Warden's power. If they wanted to save Lyra's mother, they had to destroy the source of his strength. "We'll need help," Jake said quietly. "Alone, we can't win." Lyra nodded slowly. "There are others like me. Hidden survivors who fight against the Warden. I can lead you to them." Hope sparked in Jake's chest. Maybe they had a chance after all. "Tomorrow we start again," Jake said, looking up at the stars peeking through the trees. "But this time, we'll be ready." Lyra smiled faintly. "Thank you, Jake, for believing in me." As they settled down to rest, a pair of glowing eyes watched them from the shadows. The Shadow Warden was closer than they thought, and he was already planning his next move. The deadly trap the next morning. The forest seemed even darker, as if it was warning them not to enter. Thick fog rolled through the trees, hiding secrets and dangers in every corner. Jake tightened the straps on his backpack, checking his equipment one last time. Lyra stood beside him, eyes full of quiet fear but also fierce determination. Croth growled low, sensing the tension in the air. "This is it," Jake said. "The place where your mother is trapped." Lyra nodded, her small hands clenched tightly. "The trap is more than just metal and energy beams. It is alive. It watches, learns, and punishes anyone who tries to free her." They moved forward carefully, the fog swirling around their legs like cold fingers. The sounds of the forest were muted. No birds, no insects, just the slow drip of water and the crunch of leaves underfoot. As they approached the clearing, a strange silence fell. The glowing cage that held Lyra's mother stood in the center, larger and more terrifying than Jake remembered. Energy pulses flickered like lightning, casting eerie shadows on the trees. But something was different. The trap was waiting for them. "I can feel it," Lyra whispered. "It knows we are here." Jake crouched down, studying the trap. Wires and devices hummed with power. The cage wasn't just a prison, it was a weapon, designed to kill anyone who came near. "There has to be a way to disable it," Jake said, pulling out a small toolkit. Something hidden. He began to inspect the outer panels, searching for weak points. Lyra watched nervously. Suddenly, the trap flashed bright red and a voice echoed around them. A cold, mechanical voice that sent chills down Jake's spine. "Intruders detected. Initiating defense protocol." Without warning, sharp beams of light shot from the trap's frame. Jake and Lyra dodged quickly, diving behind a fallen tree. Croth growled fiercely, ready to attack. "We need a plan," Jake said, breathing hard. "This thing adapts fast." Lyra's eyes widened. "The trap learns from our moves. If we repeat mistakes, it will trap us forever." Jake's mind raced. He needed to think like the trap to beat it. He noticed small panels on the side that pulsed with blue light. These might control the energy flow. "Can you reach them?" Lyra asked. "I'll try," Jake said, crawling slowly toward the first panel. The beams flashed again, but this time he timed his movement perfectly, slipping past the lasers. His fingers worked quickly, cutting wires and pressing buttons. The humming sound grew louder, then suddenly stopped. "The cage's energy dimmed now," Jake whispered. They rushed to the cage, but just as Jake reached the door, a loud roar echoed through the forest. The Shadow Warden appeared, blocking their path. His eyes burned with fury. "You think you can take what is mine?" he snarled. Lyra stepped forward, voice strong. "My mother is not yours to keep. This ends now." The Warden laughed darkly and raised his hand. Dark energy swirled and the ground shook. Jake raised his gun, but the Warden's power was unlike anything he had faced before. With a wave of his hand, Jake was thrown backward, crashing into a tree. "Keep her safe," Jake gasped to Lyra, struggling to stand. Lyra didn't hesitate. She grabbed Croth's leash and pulled him toward the cage. "Help me get her out," she shouted. Together they worked quickly, the trap's energy flickering weakly. The cage door creaked open, and Lyra's mother stumbled out, pale and weak but alive. The Warden's eyes blazed. "You may have won this battle, but the war is far from over." He vanished into the shadows, leaving a cold silence behind. Jake helped Lyra's mother to her feet. "We need to leave now." As they hurried away from the clearing, the forest seemed to close behind them, like a giant door shutting tight. Safe for the moment, but the danger was far from gone. Jake looked at Lyra and her mother. This is just the beginning. The shadow. Warden will come back, and next time he will be stronger. Lyra nodded. We will be ready. Together. The forest held its breath, waiting for what would come next. The shocking truth. The forest was quiet now, but Jake knew this calm would not last long. The Shadow Warden's warning echoed in his mind. This was just the beginning. As they moved away from the trap, Jake helped Lyra's mother, who walked slowly, her strength fading with every step. We need to find a safe place, Jake said, scanning the dark trees around them. Lyra nodded. There is a hidden village. Nearby, other survivors like us. They can help us heal and fight. The journey to the village was tense. Every rustle in the bushes, every distant howl made them jump. Croth stayed alert, growling at shadows that seemed to move on their own. Finally, after hours of careful walking, they reached a hidden valley. Small, simple homes made of wood and stone stood quietly among the trees. Lights flickered in the windows and people peered out, watching the newcomers with wary eyes. An older alien woman stepped forward, her skin glowing faintly under the moonlight.
Lyra, she said softly, you have returned. Lyra smiled faintly. We need your help. The woman nodded and led them inside. The village was warm, filled with the quiet hum of life and hope. Here, Lyra's mother could rest, and Jake
could learn more about their fight. As the night deepened, Jake sat by a small fire listening to Lyra's mother speak. Her voice was weak but filled with urgency. The Shadow Warden is not just a forest guardian, she said slowly. He was once a protector of our people, a guardian of peace. Jake raised his eyebrows. Then what happened? Lyra's mother looked away, pain in her eyes. He was corrupted by a dark force, something ancient and evil. It changed him, turned him into a monster who now seeks to control and destroy. What is this dark force? Jake asked, leaning closer. An ancient weapon, Lyra's mother whispered. A power that can destroy worlds. The Shadow Warden uses it to trap and weaken our people. Jake felt a chill. This was bigger than he thought. A war for survival against a power beyond understanding. If we don't stop him, Lyra's mother continued, our planet will fall, and the dark force will spread beyond this world. Lyra looked at Jake, her eyes shining with determination. We must find the source of the dark force and destroy it. Jake nodded. But how? We barely survived the trap. There is a hidden temple, the older woman said, joining them by the fire. Ancient and protected by powerful magic. Inside, the source of the dark force is sealed. If you destroy it, the Shadow Warden will lose his power. Jake looked at Lyra. This is our next mission, the older woman warned. The temple is guarded by traps and creatures more deadly than the forest. Only the bravest can enter and survive. That night, sleep was impossible. Jake's mind raced with plans and fears. The weight of their mission was heavy, but so was the hope. The next morning, the village prepared for the journey. Lyra's mother gave Jake a small glowing crystal. This will protect you, she said. It holds the light of our people. As they left the safety of the village, the forest seemed to watch them once more. Shadows twisted and whispers filled the air. The Shadow Warden's presence was near. Suddenly, a cold wind blew, carrying a voice that chilled Jake to the bone. You cannot escape me, it hissed. They quickened their pace, hearts pounding. The path to the temple was long and filled with unknown dangers. Jake looked at Lyra and her mother. We will face this together, no matter what. And with that promise, they stepped deeper into the darkness, toward the shocking truth that would change everything. Rescue mission. The path to the hidden temple was covered in thick, twisting vines and ancient trees whose roots seemed to reach out like fingers. Jake, Lyra, and her mother moved cautiously, each step heavy with tension. Croth stayed close, his low growls warning of danger lurking just beyond the shadows. We are close, Lyra whispered, her voice barely audible. The temple is hidden beneath the old ruins at the valley's heart. Jake nodded but kept his eyes sharp. Every sound echoed strangely in the silent forest. Footsteps that weren't theirs, whispers that vanished when they turned to listen. The air felt thick with unseen eyes watching their every move. As they entered the ruins, a strange energy pulsed through the ground. The walls were covered with glowing symbols that seemed to move and shift when Jake glanced away. It was clear. This place was alive with ancient power. "Stay close," Jake warned. "This place is full of traps." Lyra nodded, clutching the glowing crystal her mother had given them. "The temple tests those who enter. Only the worthy may reach the core." The first trap was a sudden drop, a pit lined with sharp spikes, hidden beneath a thin layer of leaves. Jake caught Lyra's hand just in time, pulling her back with a sharp grunt. "We need to watch every step," he said, his voice low and serious. Deeper into the ruins, they encountered moving statues. Stone, guardians that came to life with fierce glowing eyes. The statues attacked without warning, swinging heavy stone arms and blocking their path. Jake fired his laser gun, the beams shattering stone, but the guardians kept coming. Lyra called out a strange word in her language, and Croth leapt forward, his powerful jaws biting into one of the statues, cracking it open like brittle rock. "We can't stop," Lyra said. "My mother's power is inside the temple. The Shadow Warden's strength depends on it." After hours of fighting and careful movement, they reached a massive door covered with symbols of light and shadow. The glowing crystal pulsed in Lyra's hand, reacting to the door's magic. "This is the final barrier," Lyra said. "We must open it together." Jake placed his hand on the door, feeling a wave of cold energy push against him. Lyra stepped forward, placing the crystal in a carved indentation. The door shuddered, then slowly began to open, revealing a dark chamber filled with swirling shadows. Inside, a pedestal held a glowing orb, dark and bright at the same time. It pulsed with energy, a living thing that seemed to breathe. "That's it," Lyra whispered. "The source of the dark force." As Jake reached out to touch the orb, the shadows around them twisted and formed into a giant figure, the Shadow Warden's true form, taller and more terrifying than before, his eyes burning like molten lava. "You dare to destroy my power?" he growled, his voice shaking the chamber. "This ends now," Jake said, raising his gun, but the warden laughed, his voice echoing like thunder. "You are weak," he sneered. "Your light cannot touch the darkness." A fierce battle began. The warden's dark magic clashed with Jake's laser fire and Lyra's strange energy from the crystal. The chamber shook, stones falling and dust filling the air. Lyra's mother appeared, her pale blue skin glowing with healing light. She joined the fight, her power pushing back the shadows, giving Jake the chance to focus on the orb. "Destroy it!" she shouted. Jake aimed and fired a powerful blast straight at the orb. It shattered with a loud crack, releasing a blinding light that filled the chamber and forced the warden back. With a terrible roar, the Shadow Warden began to weaken, his form flickering like a dying flame. "This is not the end," he hissed before disappearing into a swirl of dark smoke. The chamber grew silent. The dark energy was gone. Jake looked at Lyra and her mother, their faces full of relief and exhaustion. "We did it," Lyra whispered, tears in her eyes. "But the war is far from over," Jake said, knowing the Shadow Warden might return stronger. They left the temple as the first light of dawn broke through the trees. The forest seemed less threatening now. The dark power lifted. As they walked back to the village, Croth led the way, his tail wagging slightly, a sign of hope. The rescue mission was complete, but the true fight for peace had just begun. Escape and chase. The first light of dawn was just beginning to pierce through the thick canopy when Jake, Lyra, and her mother finally left the temple behind. The air felt lighter, as if the dark energy that once gripped the forest had begun to fade. Croth padded ahead, alert and watchful, but the Shadow Warden's warning still hung heavy in the air. "This is not the end." Jake glanced back, feeling the weight of every step. "We have to move fast. He will come for us." Lyra nodded, gripping the glowing crystal tightly. "The dark force may be broken, but the Warden's hatred remains. He will send everything to stop us." They didn't have to wait long. From the shadows emerged twisted creatures, corrupted beasts born from the warden's dark magic. Their eyes glowed red, teeth sharp as knives, and their snarls echoed through the trees. "Run!" Jake shouted, pushing Lyra and her mother forward. Croth growled fiercely, blocking the path of the first creature. His powerful jaws tore through the air, but more beasts appeared, surrounding them. The forest transformed into a deadly maze of pursuit. Every turn brought new threats: falling branches, hidden pits, and strange traps set by the warden to slow them down. Jake fired his laser gun, keeping the creatures at bay, but ammo was limited. Lyra's mother used her healing light to mend Croth's wounds and give Jake strength. "We can't outrun them forever," Jake said between breaths. "We need a plan." Lyra's eyes scanned the forest, searching for something. Then she spotted a narrow, winding river cutting through the trees. "If we can reach the river, the creatures won't follow," she said. "They fear water." With Croth leading, they dashed toward the river, dodging attacks and leaping over fallen logs. The creatures were relentless, snapping at their heels. Just as they reached the water's edge, a massive beast blocked their path. Larger and more terrifying than the rest. Its eyes burned with pure rage, and its breath was like fire. "Stay behind me," Jake said, stepping forward. The beast lunged, and Jake dodged, firing his last shots. Croth attacked fiercely, biting and clawing at the monster's legs. Lyra and her mother joined, using their combined powers to push the beast back. With a final roar, the creature stumbled into the river, and the water hissed as if burning it. It struggled, then vanished beneath the surface. They didn't stop to rest. "Let's go," Lyra urged. "The village is close." But the chase wasn't over. From the trees, dark figures emerged, the Shadow Warden's elite guards, faster and smarter than the beasts. The group pushed forward, exhaustion creeping in but hope driving them on. Finally, the village lights appeared through the trees, a beacon of safety. As they crossed into the village, the guards stopped at the edge, snarling but unable to follow. Jake breathed heavily, relief flooding him. "We made it." Lyra's mother collapsed into the arms of the villagers, safe for now. But Jake knew the warden's shadow still stretched far. "He will come back," Jake said quietly. "And we will be ready," Lyra replied, her voice steady. The escape was over, but the fight for their future had only just begun. The aftermath, a new beginning. The village was quiet under the soft glow of the twin moons. Jake sat by the fire, watching Lyra and her mother speak in low voices, their faces marked with both relief and worry. Croth lay nearby, tired but alert, ears twitching at every sound. The battle was over, for now. The dark force had been broken, and the Shadow Warden defeated. But the price was heavy. "We lost much," Lyra said softly, her eyes distant. "Many of our people disappeared during his reign." Jake nodded. "The fight may be won, but the war isn't finished." Lyra's mother reached out, placing a gentle hand on Jake's arm. "The Shadow Warden was only a servant. A greater darkness still waits beyond our world." Jake frowned. "What do you mean?" "There are other forces," she explained. "Ancient powers that hunger for control over the stars. The Shadow Warden was just the first." The village elder, who had listened quietly, spoke up. "We must prepare. Our survival depends on strength and unity." Jake looked around the village. These aliens, once strangers, had become allies, friends. Their future depended on working together. That night, Jake and Lyra stood outside the village looking at the star-filled sky. The air was cool, filled with hope but also uncertainty. "What now?" Jake asked. "Now," Lyra said, "we rebuild. We gather those who remain. And we get ready for whatever comes next." Suddenly, a distant light flashed in the sky, a signal or a warning. Both of them watched, hearts pounding. "This is only the beginning," Jake said quietly. "The universe is bigger than we know," Lyra replied, "and our story is far from over." As the moons rose higher, they felt the weight of destiny pressing on their shoulders. The dark had been pushed back, but it was not gone. Together they would face the future, with courage, hope, and a promise to protect their worlds. And so a new chapter began.